Death Stranding 2 on the beach is certainly taking the world by storm right now, and Hideo Kojima's bonkers AAA delivery simulation sequel offers up way more of a streamlined iteration of its mesmerising predecessor. But if you've already reached the end of Death Stranding 2 and are hungry for similar-ish experiences, look no further than these upcoming titles. Now, I will state right here, there is nothing quite like Death Stranding because, well, obviously, but these ones at least have similar tone, aesthetic choices, or just make us feel like we're trudging up a mountain with bloody feet. So with this in mind, I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are the top 10 upcoming unbelievable single-player games like Death Stranding. Number 10, Hell Is Us. So let's kick this list off with perhaps the most immediately Kojima-like game of the lot. Hell Is Us is a third-person action-adventure game in which players control Remy, a UN peacekeeper who is searching for his parents across the vast post-apocalyptic semi-open world of Hideo. Much like Death Stranding, players are hurled into a world transformed by a calamitous event, forcing them to do battle with supernatural entities called Hollow Walkers. Hell Is Us basically seems to be splitting the difference between Death Stranding and Dark Souls, melding the aesthetics and atmosphere of the former with the latter's tricky combat. In the pursuit of heightened immersion, developer Rogue Factor is also keeping the HUD clutter to an absolute minimum, while the lack of a map and objective markers will ensure players need to explore and listen to their gut in order to make progress. Number 9, Baby Steps. From the developers of Ape Out and Getting Over It, Baby Steps is a physics-based walking simulator in which players control Nate, an unemployed loser who is transported to a mysterious land and tasked with doing the strangest of things, and that is putting one foot in front of the other. Players will need to guide Nate towards the peak of a mountain in the distance, exercising precise controls over each of his individual steps, as will inevitably lead to innumerable hilarious pratfalls. Co-creator Bennett Foddy has directly cited Death Stranding as a major inspiration on Baby Steps, which will nevertheless offer a considerably more accessible difficulty level than Foddy's previous games QWOP and Getting Over It. Baby Steps may not have the ludicrously complex gameplay systems or peerless production values of Death Stranding 2, but it does have, and we quote, a fully dynamic onesie soilage system, where your duds will get increasingly mucky as you slip and slide your way around the game world. So that does actually sound very Kojima-like. Number 8, M.I.N.S.K. M.I.N.S.K is a post-apocalyptic survival game where the remnants of humanity hide in ruins from the toxic fog outside. Players take control of an android created by a lone engineer who is tasked with scouring the land and collecting resources pivotal to the survival of not just its creator, but humanity as a whole. Much like Death Stranding, there's an emphasis here on delivering useful materials, traversing dangerous landscapes, and taking on hostile forces, both human and not. Though produced for a more modest budget than a typical Kojima joint, M.I.N.S.K clearly has atmosphere out the wazoo, courtesy of those eye-wateringly impressive Unreal Engine 5 visuals. And with the developers promising an emotional story centered around the interactions between humans and machines, it could very well be one of the most impactful Stranding likes to date. Number 7, P.A.C.S. Post-Apocalypse Courier Service. Post-Apocalypse Courier Service is centered wholly around delivering packages across a hostile wasteland, using vehicles to navigate the world's tricky terrain. Unlike most games on this list though, there aren't any enemies that you'll need to deal with here, simply the unforgiving nature of, well, nature itself. Extreme conditions from arid deserts to icy peaks and boggy swamps will require you to continually upgrade and repair your vehicles, often scavenging parts that you find on your travels. Like Death Stranding, there's also a puzzle aspect to organising your cargo before heading out and ensuring that it reaches its destination safely. Though P.A.C.S does include co-op functionality for up to 4 players, developer Studio 316 has made it clear that the game can be enjoyed as a solitary adventure as well. Number 6, Cairn. Fury and Haven developers, the Game Breakers, return with their new game, Cairn, which seems to be splitting the difference between Death Stranding and 2023's brilliant puzzle platformer, Jusant. Players take control of Avar, a mountaineer who attempts to become the first person to ever summit Mount Kami. While Jusant was more of a casual climbing simulator, Cairn is far more about the gritty minutiae of the ascent. You'll need to plan your route, manually position each of your limbs, and manage your posture and stamina as you climb. Oh, and there's no user interface to help you out, you'll just need to observe your character in order to figure out if she's in danger of falling. And even when you're not climbing, you'll have to ensure that you're hydrated and rested, while also repairing equipment between sessions. Despite describing the mountain as a persistent boss for players to take on, the developers have insisted that Cairn isn't a game designed to make you rage, even in its trickier moments. They want players to drink in the gorgeous environments and overall vibe. Number 5. A Silent Desolation. A Silent Desolation is a survival game developed by just a single person and cast players in the role of a lone traveler who crash lands on Earth centuries after humanity has abandoned it. Earth has been rendered unrecognizable by a calamitous event, leaving you to battle the elements in order to restore an abandoned base and plot your escape. You'll need to explore the strange world to scavenge materials and establish mining operations while getting the launch base back online, as well as eventually uncovering the truth of what actually happened to Earth. Much like Death Stranding, you'll also need to contend with dangerous entities out in the world, BT-like creatures who will attack you if you make too much noise, and that's without even getting into things like acid rain, radiation, and other environmental anomalies. In addition to restoring the base and establishing outposts, you'll also need to build bridges and other structures to aid your navigation across treacherous terrain. Needless to say, this is one of the most ambitious solo developed projects in the works right now, and hopefully it will deliver on the full extent of its promise. Number 4. Exodus. Exodus is a new sci-fi action RPG that looks like the most glorious hybrid of Death Stranding and Mass Effect. This is the first game from new studio Archetype Entertainment, comprised of veteran developers from the likes of BioWare, Naughty Dog, 343 Industries, and EA. Exodus takes place long after humanity has fled a dying Earth, with players taking control of the Traveler, who is tasked with stealing tech from the most powerful and dangerous entities in the universe, the Celestials, in order to aid humanity's survival. But here's the rub though. Time dilation is a central mechanic, meaning that even missions lasting mere days can cause decades to pass back home, ensuring that every choice you make while out in the field has literally generational consequences. Beyond its action and exploration-focused gameplay, Exodus is also absolutely gorgeous, and has even brought Matthew McConaughey into the fold to voice the player's mentor character, Cece Orlev. Number 3. Pragmata. The moment that Capcom's new sci-fi adventure game Pragmata was announced, many immediately likened it to Death Stranding, even if only because its astronaut protagonist Hugh bore an immediate resemblance to Kojima's production's mascot, Ludens. In the near future, Hugh must team up with an android child in order to investigate a lunar research station, defeat the AI residing within, and make it back to Earth. The AI child, Diana, basically seems to be playing the BB role in this game, offering support to the player during navigation and combat. As an android, she possesses hacking abilities to unlock the environment and help fend off robotic foes. Hacking is in fact a major gameplay element, with your controller's right stick being used to complete maze-like puzzles, which allows your little android pal to harness said abilities. From its appealing two-hander between a hero and his pint-sized sidekick, to its eye-wateringly beautiful environments and intriguing gameplay ideas, Pragmata sure sounds like one of the most unique and out-there AAA titles in development. Number 2. Dust and Diesel Deadland Delivery. Dust and Diesel Deadland Delivery looks like the unwieldy offspring of Mad Max, SnowRunner, and Death Stranding, a vehicular delivery simulator where you're invited to build your own delivery empire. Set in the desolate Deadlands, your enterprise will begin humbly as a basic small business, but over the course of the game you'll expand into a pervasive Amazon-like logistics company. Beyond managing resources and plotting the safest, most efficient delivery routes, you'll also have to deal with bandits seeking to steal your precious cargo. But fear not, because you're able to kit out your vehicles with a mighty arsenal of weaponry, including turrets to protect your wares. Developer Rejected Games has also promised rigorously realistic truck physics, deep survival elements centered around vehicular maintenance, extensive customization options, and a vast open world for players to explore. And number 1, Black State. The moment that the first gameplay footage for Black State dropped last year, many immediately pointed out the distinct Kojima vibes, feeling like it was a cross between Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding. This third-person shooter puts players in the shoes of an operative who is summoned by a group of scientists in order to discover the truth behind a cataclysmic event. We still don't actually know all that much about Black State, but from the mesmerising Unreal Engine 5 gameplay footage released so far, it's one of the most visually stunning games in the works at present. Gameplay is centered around players using doors which act as portals to unexpected locations, where they will engage with enemies through both stealth and direct combat. Both aesthetically and gameplay-wise, Black State is clearly borrowing a lot from Metal Gear Solid 5 and Death Stranding, though it remains to be seen if the story will be nearly as delightfully bonkers. But you know what? Here's hoping. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 upcoming unbelievable single-player games like Death Stranding. Hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. And as always, you can go follow me over on Instagram and Blue Sky, where I'm at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. But before I go, just want to say one thing. Hope you treat yourself well with love and respect, my friend, because you deserve the bloody best, all right? You're a massive ledge, and never ever forget that. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.